Good day, ma'am, and good day, classmates. We are the Group 6 and we're going to present a report about the topic air pollution. But first, I will briefly discuss the atmosphere. Atmosphere is the layers of gases surrounding a planet or other celestial body. I know this isn't already new to you since we discussed this into our previous lessons. And these layers comprises of the troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, and exosphere. But our solely main focus only lies on the troposphere and stratosphere, which are the sensitive parts of the atmosphere that deeply affected by air pollution. In the right side of the presentation, you will see the distribution of the components of Earth's atmosphere. The components of Earth's atmosphere comprises of 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, 0.9% argon, and 0.1% other gases. These other gases are the trace amounts of carbon dioxide, methane, helium, krypton, water vapor, hydrogen, and neon. Now, let's go to our main topic, which is the air pollution. According to World Health Organization or WHO, air pollution is the contamination of the indoor or outdoor environment by any chemical, physical, or biological agent that modifies the natural characteristics of the atmosphere. It is one of the major environmental problems that cause threats because of its negative effects. Well, at this juncture, may we lend our ears to Katrina to discuss about the types of air pollution.
There are two types of air pollution. First, indoor pollution. Indoor air pollution involves exposure to particulates, carbon oxides, and other pollutants carried by indoor air or dust. Example includes household products and chemicals, outgassing or of building materials, allergens, and tobacco smoke. Poor indoor air quality has been linked to lung disease like asthma and lung cancer. Second, outdoor pollution. Outdoor air is often referred to as ambient air. Ambient air pollution arises from both natural and human-derived sources. The common sources of outdoor air pollution are emission caused by combustion processes from motor vehicles, solid fuel burning, and industry. Other pollution sources include smoke from bushfires, wind-blown dust, and biogenic emissions from vegetation. Exposure to indoor and outdoor air pollutants may increase an individual risk for morbidity and mortality from a variety of different conditions in multiple organ systems.
Now, let's move on to the sources of air pollution according to categories, which are the mobile sources, stationary sources, area sources, agricultural sources, and natural sources. First, I'm going to discuss to you the mobile sources. A mobile source of air pollution refers to a source that is capable of moving under its own power. In general, mobile sources imply on-road transportation, which includes vehicles such as cars, sport utility vehicles, and buses. And in addition, there is also a non-road or off-road category that include gas-powered lawn tools and mowers, farm and construction equipment, recreational vehicles, boats, planes, and trains. Next is the stationary sources. Stationary source of air pollution refers to an emission source that does not move, also known as a point source. And stationary sources include power generating plants, oil refineries, chemical plants, steel factories, cement and glass manufacturing companies, space heating, and many other industries. Another source of air pollution is the aerosols. The term aerosols is used to describe many small sources of air pollution located together whose individual emissions may be below thresholds of concern, but still whose collective emission can be significant. The residential wood burners, as you can see in the figure, are a good example of a small source, but when combined with many other small sources, they can contribute to local and regional air pollution levels. Area sources can also be thought of as non-point sources such as construction of housing developments, dry lake beds, and landfills. Next is the agricultural sources, which also contributes to the air pollution. Agricultural sources arise from operations that raise animals and grow crops. In this, they generate emissions of gases and particulate matter. For example, animals confined to a barn or restricted area produce large amounts of manure, or the one that we call ganagan. Manure emits various gases, particularly ammonia, into the air. This ammonia can be emitted from the animal houses, manure storage areas, or from the land after the manure is applied. And in crop production, the misapplication of fertilizers, herbicides, and pesticides can potentially result in aerial drift of these materials and that harm may be caused. Lastly, the natural sources. Unlike the above-mentioned sources of air pollution caused by natural sources is not caused by people or their activities. Example of this is an erupting volcano that emits particulate matter and gases. Fires and prairie fires can also emit large quantities of pollutants. Naturally occurring wildfires, that is most frequently caused by lightning, also have a big impact on the air pollution. There's also major and cold fires depending on the circumstance. Dust storms can also create large amount of particulate matter. Plants and trees naturally emit volatile organic compounds which can form aerosols that can cause a natural blue haze. Wild animals in their natural habitat are also considered natural sources of pollution. Now, I'm going to differentiate pollutant to air pollutant. A pollutant is a substance or energy introduced into the environment that has undesired effects or adversely affects the usefulness of a resource. Pollutants are the elements, molecules, and particles involved in pollution. Life can be harmed when exposed to these materials, and the effects of them on water, air, or land, humans, and plants are well known. Pollutants can be introduced into the environment in many ways, both naturally and by humans. While on the other hand, air pollutant is a material in the air that can have adverse effect on humans and the ecosystem. The substance can be solid particles, liquid droplets, or gases. Air pollutants differ in a lot of features, such as their chemical composition, their reactions, emissions, persistence in the environment, ability to be transported over long or short distances, and even their eventual impacts on human health and on the environment. Now, may we lend our ears to Ms. Katrina Bayadadis as she will discuss the major air pollutants.
There are 5 major air pollutants. First, carbon monoxide. Second, sulfur dioxide. Third, nitrogen dioxide. Fourth, particulate matter. And fifth, ground level ozone. Carbon monoxide. The carbon monoxide is an odorless, colorless gas which forms when the carbon in fuels doesn't completely burn. It is, it is usually generated by motor vehicles and industry, but can also be formed during bushfires. Indoors, carbon monoxide is formed by unfluid gas heaters, wood burning heaters, and contained in cigarette smoke. Carbon monoxide consists of one carbon atom and one oxygen atom. Sulfur dioxide. Sulfur dioxide is a highly reactive gas with unpungent, irritating smell. It is formed by fossil fuel combustion at power plants and other industrial facilities. Natural processes that release sulfur gases include decomposition and combustion of organic matter, spray from the sea, and volcanic eruptions. It contributes to the formation of particulate matter pollution, and sulfur dioxide used as a fumigant, a food preservative, and as a bleaching agent. Nitrogen dioxide. The nitrogen dioxide is a highly reactive gas formed by emissions from motor vehicles, industry, unfluid gas heaters, and gas stovetops. High concentration can be found especially near busy roads and indoors where unfluid gas heaters are in use. Other indoor sources can be from cigarette smokes or from cooking with gas. Nit- Nitrogen dioxide causes a range of harmful effects on the lungs. Particulate matter. Particulate matter, also known as particle pollution or PM, is a term that describes extremely small solid particles and liquid droplets suspended in air. Particle pollution mainly comes from motor vehicles, wood burning heaters, and industry. During bushfires or dust storms, particle pollution can reach extremely high concentration. Ground level ozone. Ozone is colorless, reactive oxidant gas that is composed of three atoms of oxygen. Ground level ozone is the main component of smog and it the product of the interaction between sunlight and emissions from sources such as motor vehicles and industry. Ground level ozone is the secondary pollutant, and it is called secondary pollutant because it is produced when two primary pollutants react in sunlight and stagnant air.
Next are the effects of air pollution. Under the environment are global climate change, ozone depletion, crop and forest damage, acid rain, eutrophication, and haze. Under the humans are short-term effects and long-term effects. And in the wildlife, there is the disruption of endocrine function, organ injury, lower reproductive success, and possible death. To furthermore discuss the effects of air pollution under the environment, humans, and wildlife, let's hear it from Ms. Iggy Castillo.
And now, I will discuss the effects of air pollution to the environment, humans, and wildfire. First, we have here the effects of air pollution to the environment, the global climate change. The Earth's atmosphere contains a delicate balance of naturally occurring gases that trap some of the sun's heat near the Earth's surface. Basically, air pollution is causing the climate to change, and climate change is also causing air quality to change. Because of climate warming, the Earth experiences more extreme weather such as heat waves and drought, which can negatively impact air quality. And next, the ozone depletion. Ozone is a gas that occurs both at ground level and in the Earth's upper atmosphere, known as the stratosphere. So, the hole in the ozone layer is caused by air pollutants. Chemicals used as refrigerants such as chlorofluorocarbon contain chlorine atoms. Releasing chlorine atoms into the atmosphere destroys ozone, A single chlorine atom can destroy thousands of ozone molecules. And then we have here the crop and forest damage. Air pollution can damage crops and trees in a variety of ways. Air pollutants also weaken trees, predisposing them to further damage by insects and disease. Some air pollutants can also indirectly impact tree health by altering ecosystem processes such as soil chemistry and nutrient cycling. The result is decreased tree vigor and growth that can culminate in tree death. Next, the acid rain. Acid rain, it is a precipitation containing harmful amounts of nitric and sulfuric acids. In the environment, acid rain damages trees and causes soils and water bodies to acidify, making the water unsustainable for some fish and other wildlife. Acid rain is caused by a chemical reaction that begins when compounds like sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides are released into the air. These substances can rise very high into the atmosphere where they mix and react with water, oxygen, and other chemicals form of acidic pollutants. For the last effects of air pollution to the environment, we have here the eutrophication. Eutrophication is a condition in a water body where high concentrations of nutrients such as nitrogen stimulate blooms of algae, which in turn can cause fish kills and loss of plant and animal diversity. So, in connection to the effects of air pollution, water pollution can affect the air due to eutrophication because it will contribute bad smell to the air. And then the effects of air pollution to the human. Short-term effects. Short-term effects are just temporary. For example, pneumonia or bronchitis also includes irritation to the nose, throat, eyes, or skin. Air pollution can also cause headaches, dizziness, and nausea caused by bad smells made by factories, garbage, or sewer systems. And next, the long-term effects, which mean it can last for years or for an entire life or can even lead to a person's death. Long-term health effects from air pollution include heart disease, lung cancer, and respiratory diseases such as emphysema. Air pollution can also cause long-term damage to people's nerves, brain, kidneys, liver, and other organs. For the effects of air pollution to wildlife, the disruption of endocrine function, organ injury, lower reproductive success, and possible to death. Air pollution can harm wildlife that it affects the quality of the environment or habitat in which they live, causing damage to the organs that weakens their immune systems and make more vulnerable to many diseases. In the most egregious cases of air pollution, the health impacts that animals suffer are even visible to the naked eye. So, here are the approaches to reduce air pollution. We have here, implement forestation. Plant and grow as many trees as possible because trees highly contribute to a clean environment as they improve air quality through the process of photosynthesis producing oxygen and taking in carbon dioxide. And next, the energy conservation and efficiency. Producing clean energy is crucial, but equally important is to reduce. Next, the reduction of forest fires and smoking. Reducing the risk of fire often involves removing vegetation that can fuel fires. The reproduction of cigarettes should also be stopped. So, next is the 3 R's. So, familiar naman na tayo dito. The reduce, reuse, recycle. It is the concept of reduce, reuse, and recycle is not just conserve resources and use them judicially, but also is helpful for air pollution as it helps in reducing air pollution and emissions. and using eco-friendly transportation, shifting to electric vehicles and hydrogen vehicles and promoting shared mobility could reduce air pollution. For example, ride a bike or walk if you are just going a short distance. And this is so important, no to plastic bags. The use of plastic products could be very harmful to the environment as they take a very long time to decompose. Due to their material made up of oil, the use of paper bags instead is a better alternative as they decompose easily and are recyclable. We have to avoid the use of plastic disposable materials. We should also avoid excessive using of products with chemicals because products that use the chemicals in their usage or smell strongly like paints or perfumes should be used less or outside the house. There can also be an alternative to use products with low chemical content and organic properties. And last, the renewable fuel and clean energy production. It is the most basic solution for air pollution is to move away from fossil fuels, replacing them with alternative energies like solar, wind, and geothermal. And that's the end of our presentation. Thank you so much for listening. Again, we are the Group 6 and I am E.G. Castillo, your presenter and researcher. Miss Honey Joy Daliego, the editor, presenter, and researcher, and Miss Katrina Beyadadis, also a presenter and researcher.